Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, from the bunker of the Brewtiful Game, I am Blake, and we are adhering to social distancing standards because over at his domicile, we've got Ferris.
Hola.
And in Ron's temporary domicile, while he still awaits his ability to travel back to China, we have Ron.
How's it going?
He didn't say what's happening. It screws everything.
Yeah, I know. You know.
Sorry.
How do you forget?
No, it's because Blake said my name twice.
It's
and
true.
I was like, well, that's not much of an introduction. And then I was like, oh, I'm supposed to say something.
Allow myself to introduce myself. Yeah, well, this is probably going to be just a weird episode anyway, because, well, obviously we haven't had soccer going on. We're just trying to entertain those of you who are, dutifully sitting at home and trying to keep safe in these wild times. So, we're going to talk a little bit of beer stuff. We've all got different beers. We'll talk a bit of beer news. We got a little bit of soccer conversation and maybe even some Netflix soccer conversation because binging is kind of the order of the day right now.
True story. So real quick, what are you guys do? What's your go-to for getting through the doldrums of being quarantined?
In terms of what? In terms of like Netflix series, drinks?
Keeping yourself sane, whatever that is.
Oh, I don't know that I'm doing it, if I'm to be perfectly honest, because like having a 2-year-old who does not, I am fortunate and I'm not complaining because I get to work from home. So, or work is allowing me to do that. But it's not like I can tell my 2-year-old, hey, do me a favor. I got an hour-long meeting. Can you go, like, play a little bit in your room? And that's not the age at which this happens. So it's kind of like this constant, like, toddler Tasmanian devil whirlwind you're always going behind because her schedule's so screwed up. And I thought we were just terrible parents until I found out from multiple friends of mine who have toddlers that are like, what's going on? No more naps, refuse to sleep, yada, yada, yada. It's just the routines have been wrecked. So, so I would say I'm barely clinging on to sanity, and trying to get a podcast done this week is what I'm using to keep myself sane.
How about you, Ferris?
Hanging out with friends and stuff, and that we can to the best of our ability to try to limit going outside and to the store and all of that. Been going to a couple of breweries and doing their to-go service, which is kind of cool, and trying some new beers and watching Netflix and trying to keep sane. And I probably should have added, I am working from home as well, so I do hop on a couple times a day and check through emails, attend WebEx meetings, and do all that fun stuff. Oh, the
joy of WebEx meetings we're all learning.
What a pain in the ass that is.
I'm sorry, did someone just join?
Yeah.
Sorry,
right.
Just joined.
Did someone join? Someone has a dog barking. Could you please mute?
Yeah,
someone has me
yes.
on a speakerphone, and I'm hearing all of us in an awful echo. Could you please mute your phone?
And by the way, stop talking over each other.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, sometimes you have to call the number and punch in the attendee ID code 3 times before you actually connect to the meet.
Yeah, it's hey, thank goodness we're able to use FaceTime, and with the exception of Ferris being like a grandma for a little bit at the beginning as we tried to connect in, like it's pretty painless. I say that one of you going to drop off right now immediately. Stop it, Ron. I see Ron acting like his audio dropped out.
Oh, sorry, I was still on mute.
It's
my other favorite one.
Also,
I did that today to eating. Don't laugh. I forgot that I clicked mute and went on this like 2-minute conversation about. I actually brought up a very good point, but nobody heard the point until I hear everybody like waving their hands like you're muted, and I was like, "Well, son of a like what the hell?" Clicked the wrong damn button.
Well, I get to work from home too, and I'm working probably, I don't know, 10 to 12-hour days. There's a lot going on for us right now, and the project that I'm on. But I too am probably twice a week hitting a new brewery, local brewery, to support the local breweries. In the beginning, I was kind of ordering from the local grocery store because it was kind of easier, but then I started realizing that, all of these craft breweries need our actual support directly. So I started going out to all them. And then the other guilty pleasure that I did was I bought a Nintendo Switch. And on that Nintendo Switch, I may have downloaded FIFA 2020.
I thought you were going to tell me you got Animal Crossing.
So many friends want me to get that. I haven't seen it or played it yet, but
it's basically a game.
What did you get, Ron?
It's a game of chores. I don't have it, but it's a game of chores that eats up your time. So that it came out at the perfect time. Like it's like a high-end mobile game in that respect. You know what I mean? And but it came out at a perfect time when people are just looking for something to kill time. Like it came out at a really good time.
Gotcha. No, I'm currently embroiled in the women's cup tournament on my FIFA 2020. So
I like, and I should have pointed this out at the beginning of we started recording, but I love that it sounds like Ron is truly sequestered at like a camping situation because you can just barely hear those crickets in the background. And it's like, so I feel like there should be a fire in front of me right now as we like have some beers and just listen to the crickets go.
Yeah, I'm in the Lanai conference room. So
we do these where we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I look like I'm recording in front of like a terrorist video with a flag in the background.
Well, it is a Manchester United flag. So
true story.
They are not terrorists by any means, but how it looks on your guys' screen makes it look like I'm just sitting here like
you went
raising.
Because I looked at it and thought, oh, you're like some kind of YouTuber low
exactly.
channel like with Manchester United. You know, it's all about the Red Devils YouTube TV.
Hey, come on!
It's your version of Arsenal fan TV.
Exactly. Ron, I too have been indulged in the FIFA 20, but for Xbox 360, so or Xbox One. We're not on 360. That was like 15
that was like 10 years.
What the hell is that? Yeah.
Well, you just feel that way
on the
because,
Xbox One.
As yesterday, I texted you guys to apologize, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I'm running behind. I'll be able to do the pod soon. And then Ron goes, no, remember, we're doing it on Wednesday. And I'm like, what day is it? Oh, it is Tuesday. We talked about this on Monday, but it had already felt like 2 days had passed. Yeah. I think that's the wild thing right now is that I keep going like, okay, I said I was going to do this thing. So, I guess I'll do that in a few days or whatever. And you realize like, oh, that was like the day before. It hasn't been the 5 days you think it's been. It's just been one.
Yeah. Have no clue what day it is with all of this. It's just completely thrown me off.
Thank God that, work uses calendar invites or I would literally have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a little brutal. It's a little brutal.
So shall we get to some beer?
Yeah. So this will be like our first ever podcast. We all just three randomly brought a beer that for the pod since we're all three not together. So how do you guys want to do this? We should have talked about this before, but no.
I'll just announce the beer you're drinking and talk about it a minute and we'll go to the next person.
What a novel idea there, Ron.
There you go.
How long did it how long did it take me to come up with that one?
About 0.2 seconds.
Well, I can go. This beer I've got is a true quarantine beer in the sense of I'm getting low in the, like, I got like a Guinness or two and a Cookie Puss, and I'm not going to have that on the episode. Like my beer fridge is getting low, and I was going to go to the liquor store and try to find something new, but it was 2 days ago, and I was at Aldi's grocery shopping, and the government had just said, hey, if you can, try not to really go out in the next 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? I'm only going to go to one place. I'm going to force myself to get a beer from Aldi. If you're not familiar with Aldi, it's basically two family members split in Germany. One created Trader Joe's, the other one created Aldi, and now both companies are here. And it's just, they're kind of all over. They're popping in Florida a bunch, but basically it's a grocery store that's cheap in the sense that they do like quality generic brands, for lack of a better term. Like you'll look at a box of cereal and go, oh, that's like Frosted Flakes. But then you realize, oh no, only when you squint. It's the same color and the same like typeface, but that's not Tony the Tiger. That's Donnie the Dolphin or whatever,
right.
But but they've been great because, you know, I can drop a couple $100 in there and I got food for a week. So anyway, they have some beers in there, and I did get one a couple of weeks ago, and it turned out to be from a very old brewery in Germany. It wasn't bad, but this one I went with an American craft brew. It is called Hopping Nomad IPA, which I will try to show you guys there on the
nice.
screen.
Okay.
So it's a session ale, and it's a pretty I mean, it looks like a legit beer for the true adventure inside of us. And I say it looks like a legit beer in terms of it looks like this legit craft brewery kind of a can with the way its art is and stuff. And sometimes what you've got at Aldi, I found out sometimes it's clones of certain beers or whatever under a different name or what have you. But this is actually from Octopi. If you go to drinkoctopi.com, they are in Milwaukee, and this is a contract brewery, much like if you live in Florida, the Brew Hub that exists, where they do a lot of contract. They brew some of their own stuff, and they do contract brewing for people that have, like Cigar City here in Tampa. They've got the ability to make a few cans, but not a huge facility, and that's where like Brew Hub comes in, and they give them their recipe and they contract brew it. So anyway, so that's what Octopi does out in Milwaukee. And this is one of their few that even if you look on the can, it just says from the state of brewing, Milwaukee. That's all it says. Or excuse me, not Milwaukee, but it says the state of brewing, Waunakee, Wisconsin. It doesn't actually say Octopi Brewing, and it's all because Aldi doesn't like to do brands. So anyway, I thought it was a perfect quarantine beer because I don't know that I would have gotten this if I hadn't said, nope, whatever I find in here is what I'm going to have.
That's it.
And they had a couple of lagers from, a couple of lagers from Germany. It was interesting. I found an article from 2 years ago where a Cicerone went through and did all the Aldi beers, and the German Pilsner that's there, he actually rates really high. It's like such a perfect example of this true Pilsner style. So for what it's worth, you can get a couple of cool things over there.
Nice.
But I guess if we're doing it this way, I should pop it open and give it a try. So we don't go beer to beer.
Why don't you wait and then we'll all pop open ours at the same time?
Okay. Was that weird? Do you forget what beer you were talking about then if you're listening?
No, I think you're fine.
Okay.
You just say my beer, the blah, blah, blah.
Right, cool. I dig it.
Just doing it on the fly.
All right, doing it on the fly. No plans, just, making it happen. Did we lose Ferris?
I'm still here. Getting a glass out. That's it.
Oh. You want to go next?
Sure, I absolutely can. Well, I decided to go a little bit local to the state of Florida. We have absolutely had this brewery before on the pod, and is a very well-known brewery, probably one of the most popular in Florida. And it is a beer that I have not yet had from them. That is a fairly new release, but it is called Florida Man. It's a double IPA from Cigar City Brewing. Show you guys here.
Nice.
It's one that I've seen on their social media, but haven't had a chance to get yet. Was at Total Wine a little bit earlier today. I was able to get it. It is now a year-round brew of theirs, so one of their cores, if you will. What got me was their little synopsis of the beer. Not synopsis, but it set up like a did you know story. So it says, did you know the world needs heroes, and in our home state of Florida, only a very special hero will do. A hero with a sharp tooth around his neck, a Grim Reaper tattoo on his arm, and a rap sheet longer than his mama's mustache. A hero who's forgotten more about amateur taxidermy and alligator wrestling than you'll ever know. What better way to pay tribute to our beloved Florida man than with a big old double Indian pale ale brewed with nearly criminal amounts of hops and a moderate bitterness that just about matches Florida man's general disposition. This hopped up whopper of a beer is big in character and guaranteed to sear itself into your memory, just like the world's worst superhero, Florida Man.
So all I can think about is that's like the beer of the Tiger King.
Yes.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Netflix binging, we can totally talk about Tiger King, y'all.
Oh, please, can we spend at least a half an hour on Tiger King?
I'm embarrassed to tell you how fast we burned through that because we just couldn't believe what we were watching.
That's it. That's exactly. And that's what I was trying to tell Ron and his girlfriend the other night. I was like, you got to watch it. I get it. It's like all over social media. It's like a big fad, but I understand why it's the fad. Because you watch one and you're like, what the I have to watch the next. You watch a second and you're like, holy what happens next? You got to watch the next one. And before you know it, 5 hours down the redneck and gun shooting, tiger holding miniseries documentary with who made country music videos and his own reality show with some girl, some lady down in Tampa that killed her husband, presumably, or allegedly. Thank you, Ron. You're like, what the hell did I just watch? It's like, and this is a real story. This is not like it's somebody paid these actors to do this. It's a real story. It's insane. Let's turn the pod into that.
Normally, I didn't go to it because I thought it was like a reality show, but then everybody's talking about it, so and then you watch it. Oh no, it's a documentary about people that own big cats. But one of the people that owned it was also trying to make a reality show of himself. So they have that footage. So when you look, you feel like that you're watching, but you think when you see the adverts that you're going to see a reality show, but it's not. It's a docu-series, and it's exactly what he said. You're like, it just ended. Are we watch the next episode? Because that last line in every episode, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So don't worry, we binged it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, did you? You did?
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think?
I think until it got, I guess, 7 episodes? I think I was in it until after episode 4. And then the overwhelming sadness of everybody's situation hit me like a hammer.
It is depressing.
Sad and depressing. Whether or not this woman did or didn't kill her husband, let's say she didn't, right? Her life is just trash.
Well, and the guys that make the documentary have already said, like, that he feels for her because he's like, I really don't think that she did it. Like, the evidence just isn't there.
It's just
he's like, but it doesn't matter. She still gets that on her. But here's the thing, though. If we're watching it, I'm like, Kara, her problem is this. Like Ron said, like you said, she didn't do it. Let's just say she didn't do it. And this Joe Exotic guy is a total trash heap on her. When she talks, she is the most insincere person I have ever heard. So your gut tells you that you don't believe her because she's so insincere. Yeah. But I guess I would say from a personal point of view, I would not trust her. But from a legal point of view, I'm like, I don't really think she did it. Yeah, I mean, they'd have figured something out. But it's just so bonkers.
I don't know.
I love when you're like, every episode gets ready to end. You're like, okay, we're done, and it says something like, and then the studio was set afire and blown up. Later, you're like, what?
Wait, hold on, wait. Somebody's arm just got bitten off by a tiger. Hold on.
Yeah. And can we talk about the glaring issue of they went to the place in South Carolina, and this guy has like multiple wives, concubines that are.
Oh yeah.
What we just skipped right over that in the documentary.
The cult guy. I mean, like they pointed it out, but then I was reading this.
They pulled the pin on that grenade and just set it on the table.
Again, I was reading.
The place just got raided though in December.
Yeah, and I was reading about what that was, and it was like they were doing some DNA tests to see where tigers are being tracked from. It was a whole thing that it wasn't anything to do with anything you saw in the show, but like his thing is still operational, and that's one of the articles was like it just kind of drops this guy. But I think it's because I had to imagine if you've been working, because that's what blew my mind. Every time they show another date, I'm like, oh my God, this is year 3. They're working on this. And then year 4 and then year 5. And you could see that like, I think it's because halfway through the thing, they are looking at all these crazy people. And then all that stuff happens with Joe as they're getting ready to wrap up. And then I think it just took everything over. Cause I mean, you're sitting there to make a documentary and you're like, well, I hope this sells well and people like it. And then all of a sudden, sorry, the guy you're interviewing goes, the FBI is calling me right now because they think Joe tried to put out a hit. You're like, what? I mean, you can just see the documentary like stop, turn.
It's like the steroid use documentary, Icarus.
Yes,
that's a fantastic one.
That one turns left to center too.
Yeah, it does.
But I agree with you. It was funny and like, haha, and this is wild. And then it just got depressing.
Yeah.
Like at the end, you're like, woof. Which, to be honest, is probably a good thing. I've heard people be like, I'm not going to watch it. Why would I make that person famous? I'm like, see, that's how I know you haven't watched it. This does not end in a way that lifts anyone up at all.
Yeah. No one's a winner in the entire thing.
No.
But did you guys see 3 days ago, Jeff Lowe, who was shady as
I love that we know these people by name.
Yes. Confirms that a bonus episode of Tiger King is coming sometime this week. And it's supposed to be here by this weekend, gentlemen.
Yeah, I read that. But I don't trust any of the people on that show, so I don't trust that guy. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, I wouldn't trust him with anything.
With his Oakley hat, I was like, this man is a criminal. Everybody else
Oakley
is like
hat and bandana and affliction wear.
Yeah, and some of them are like
wears affliction still.
But you can tell some of them were like, you are a criminal by being dumb. He is a like criminal by like he's trying to be a mastermind. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, just. And then it's like him and that guy. Oh, we love working together. We're starting a zoo. Then like 30 minutes later, I quit. I hate that guy.
As soon as that guy started partnering him, I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, well, this isn't going to end well.
This is not going to end well. There's no way.
My God, this makes me so happy right now.
It's all over but the swearing.
Ryan, we should probably talk about your beer before we totally do
it.
So I went
that made me happy
this week to Ivanhoe Park, and I snagged some beers from them. And I snagged a beer that they don't normally do. It is a collaboration for the Collaboration Brew Day, which just happened, between Ivanhoe Park Brewing and the Pink Boots Society. You guys know about the Pink Boots Society?
I know that I've heard that name, but I can't think of what it is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So the Pink Boots Society is basically all women in craft beer.
Oh, yes. I read an article.
The Pink Boots Society was created to assist, inspire, and encourage women in the beer industry to advance their careers through education. And they're all, it's an all-female group of anybody who's ever worked in the brewing industry. So Ivanhoe Park teamed up with some of the ladies from the Pink Boots Society and created a beer that is called the Sad Girls Club. It is a hazy IPA at a 6.7 ABV, and it's got Azka, Eldorado, Idaho Gem, and Laurel hops. And I'm showing you guys the can here. I know it's radio, but there's the can.
Oh, that's
I'll
sweet
post
looking.
a picture.
Yeah,
that's cool looking.
And so while I was there, another thing that I snagged, but I won't be drinking that tonight, but another thing that I snagged was Ivanhoe Park is doing this thing called Crowler Roulette.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on their social media.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they have a crowler that has a generic Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company label. Other than that, there's no identifying marker as to what type the beer is, and there's a number on the can. So when you buy it, you give your name and the number, and then you take it home and you try it. And if you can tell them which beer it is, you win free beer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun. So I have a crowler in the fridge that I'll probably crack into this weekend to check that out. But yeah, so I'm going to have this Sad Girls Club, which is, again, a collaboration with the Pink Boots Society. And it's a hazy IPA, a hazy New England IPA. And I can't wait to give it a whirl.
So we all have a version of an IPA, correct?
Yeah, I've got a session pale ale. Yeah, so mine
double IPA.
It's a 4.5% session ale.
Mine is I want to say it's 8.5%.
Sweet. Shall we try these then?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, the downside to cracking this open when I'm facing my computer screen instead of how we normally record is I just had beer pop all over my computer screen.
Attaboy.
Smells good. This session IPA smells extremely hoppy to be a session IPA. Makes you think of like Founders All Day IPA.
Oh, right.
Man, you guys would love this. Cheers, gents.
Clink.
Clink, clink, clink. Man, yeah, you guys would really like this. This is a really light IPA. It's very hoppy on the floral notes, but it's not bitter at all. It's a good session beer. And for $6 at Aldi, yo, blat ow. 4 out of 5 would recommend again.
Your thoughts, Ferris?
I'm being honest, not my most favorite thing from Cigar City. I do want to really enjoy this beer because of the name. It is definitely a double IPA. Good hop notes. The flavor, though, is not what it's not quite there. There's not necessarily an overwhelming. There's not like a citrus flavor. There's nothing along those lines. It's almost just kind of a plain double IPA. It's tasty, but probably not the best thing that Cigar City has put out. And they are a damn good brewery.
All right, Ron, what you got?
So mine is kind of uncharacteristic for the style. It has a pretty good hop scent, and it's got a lot of hops very forward in your mouth, and then it just kind of smooths out, and there's no real of that kind of bite that IPAs usually have. It's tasty, but I think it's lacking a little on the hops.
I think I might have won this one, and it's an Aldi beer. It's $6.50 a 6-pack.
$6.50.
Congratulations, Hopping Nomad IPA. Well, the thing is, this doesn't have a harsh bite either, but it's because it's a session pale ale. So, you know,
Right.
you're meant to have a few of these, and at 4.5%, you can. And I get all the hop flavor with, all the hop aroma, very little of the bitterness, just a little bit in the back of the tongue. I mean, this actually is like a really good, like, tailgating kind of pale ale.
Mine is absolutely just hoppy. They are right. It is a criminal amount of hops. I'll probably have a second sometime here in the pod, and I'm going to do it out of the can opposed to the Pilsner type glass that I have right now.
I went all can like Ferris.
Ron went glassware, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm just saying, I pulled the Ferris. I was like, I'm doing
you did. Yeah. Well, shall we go over just a little bit of football news before we get into Ron's beer news?
Yeah, because there's not a ton of foosball stuff to talk about, so that's probably not a bad idea.
Ron, are you searching for gold back there, or what you got going on?
That makes it sound like he's picking his nose. Oh, he's got
but he has a flashlight and he's looking on the ground for.
No, I'm taking an award-winning picture of my beer.
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
Okay, go figure.
Don't be jealous.
I'll have to set my hat. I'll get a picture and I'll send it to you, Blake, of mine. But moving on to some soccer news. Honestly, just this week, there was a little bit more news than there has been in past weeks. As everybody knows, all of the leagues are shut down currently. The world of sports is essentially shut down due to COVID-19. But this week, there was a couple of headlines that kind of hit there, some good, some bad. One of them was on Monday, Liverpool reversed its decision to use the government's furlough scheme on 200 of their backroom staff. What essentially the government's furlough scheme is a check and funds to place employees for large corporations in the UK on a
so we did
sort of admin type leave.
Yeah.
So Liverpool came out and said that they were going to use it for that, for about 200 of their employees. That did not go so well in the eyes of the public in England. They, for 2 days, were under a lot of scrutiny as to why they would do that. And then on Monday is when they reversed it. So they kind of came out on the 4th and said that they were going to do this. And then on the 6th, they reversed it. It also kind of came on the backside of both the Manchester clubs saying that they will continue to pay their staff during this downtime.
Right.
And
well, who is the owner for Liverpool?
I'm sorry?
Who's the owner for Liverpool?
Americans, same
right.
people that own the stock.
And a similar situation to help with furloughed people happened here to supplement in the stimulus package that was voted on here in the States to help supplement unemployment. So, unfortunately, he might have just been looking at doing, the similar thing has happened in the UK. I'll just do this in both places. Do you know what I mean? Like, not even thinking twice about it, you know?
Yeah. It's good for, I'm glad that they reversed it, and I'm glad that they realized that probably wasn't the best thing, because it wasn't meant for clubs that is big business in England. Some of the biggest business we could possibly have. It's
meant for the small
millions
guys.
upon millions, billions of dollars. For a club of Liverpool size to do that did not go over very well, especially when the two Manchester clubs that make just as much, both make more, come out and say they're going to continue to pay their staff. Not a good look there. So they were under scrutiny from some of their own players, past players, not current players, but from some of their ex-players that are in the media. And in the end, they did make what is the correct decision to reverse that.
Yeah.
Also in England, Min Soy of Tottenham is to begin mandatory military service this month. He is a South Korean national player as well as a citizen, so it is mandatory military service. He will return to the club sometime in May, so he'll be gone for about a month. The Premier League isn't looking to start until the earliest, May 1st. Odds are that'll probably get postponed even more.
I'm thinking that the thing they're contemplating a sort of World Cup camp in the month of July is going to be the reality. But, whatever. I know it's speculation, but I think that's probably closer to reality.
Some very sad news here. Pep Guardiola's mother unfortunately passed away due to contracting the coronavirus. Very sad news there from anyone, let alone a big time ex-player and manager, family member contracting the coronavirus. She died on April 6, 2020. Dolores Sala. That's about as far as I'm going to go into saying that name without completely butchering it. She was 82 years old, and hope that she now rests in peace.
Yeah, that's just rough. That's just
how unfortunate.
What a terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah, and what are we at? 1 million deaths now around the world because of this thing. So definitely sad that she was one of them, and our hearts go out to all of those that have been affected or have lost loved ones throughout this time. And then just today, the Premier League players have launched a collective initiative to help generate funds for the National Health Service and distribute them where they are needed most. The initiative named #PlayersTogether has been set up to help those on the front lines battling with this coronavirus pandemic.
Who was the player that really got behind leading that charge? Was it Jordan Henderson? Who did that?
I'm not sure. I can look here and see if I can get back to you. It was a handful of players. Jordan Henderson sounds familiar, but that all of the players in the Premier League are helping.
Oh yeah, yes. It was really, he really started going around to all the captains in the league. He launches a player for the NHS fund, the National Health system that's in England. It was Jordan Henderson really went around talking to all the captains of the club. Yeah, he helped kick that off, which was good because it kind of was at the time when all that stuff with Liverpool was kind of going down. Did we lose a Ferris?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Did you hear that, Ferris?
Yeah. That it was Jordan Henderson that kind of started that charge and went around and got all the captains of the clubs. I haven't moved yet, Ron. That's not part of the bet. I had to change. I dropped. Yes, I had to change my earwear. But a very good initiative there from the players of the Premier League to help out those that are not only putting in so much time and effort, but risking their own lives to help with those that have come down with these symptoms and this pandemic.
When they, we all got to do what we got to do. So if things work out, they actually can come down and finish out the season in some sort of crazy, wild, a bunch of games in a short time period. I mean, that's just going to be nuts, man. Because, it'll be like starting the season over in the sense of the way a team starts might not be how they go. So there'll be this gap of, who you could see pops from clubs that were down below that all of a sudden survive because the teams they were playing against started a little shaky or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of it's such an odd, crazy thing that on one hand, if you're a Liverpool fan, you might hate it, but if you're a neutral, it makes for a wild thing to think about, and especially because there'll probably be no fans in the stadium no matter what happens.
Well, yeah, and none of the clubs have been training together.
No. Oh, except for Jose Mourinho, who got in trouble.
Oh, yes.
See that? Yeah. Little old Jose. He couldn't escape being on the pod as he did some private one-on-one training at a park with what player was it?
Tanguy Dembele.
Yeah. He was that was probably not a good idea.
No, and he's going to face a little bit, as well as
Jose.
Kyle Walker from Man City is facing some punishment for having a coronavirus party at his house or something to that extent.
Yeah, there were
the club wasn't too
players too.
There are some people that are famous that are just doing some dumb stuff.
Switching over to a real quick, the La Liga's roundup. Obviously, not a whole lot of news from the leagues that we normally cover. However, there is one league that came out in the New York Times in an interview and said that that all Bundesliga clubs have returned to training. The league is set to return in early May behind closed doors and plans to finish the season before June the 30th. The league also expects that no fans will be in attendance until next season. So quite sad that the fans can't take part in what will be the remainder of this year's Bundesliga season, but that clubs have returned to training, and they're one of the first to kind of say, here's what our plan is as of now to get back to some sort of normalcy. From what I understand, Germany has not been hit overly hard with this pandemic, so they may be the, I won't say trendsetters, but the first out the gate to kind of maybe try to get us back to normalcy. And as long as they're doing it safely and in the right mindset, I'm all for it. And if we have soccer returning to Fox Sports or wherever they're playing come May, and we can at least watch Dortmund and Munich and all those teams finish the season, would be fantastic.
If you've never partaken in the Bundesliga, it gives you an opportunity to catch in before Premier League kicks back up and enjoy some quality football.
It's a fantastic league to watch.
It'll be like watching the South American football leagues during all of the riots. Do you remember they emptied all the stadiums, and so the stadium is quiet, and so you're watching these guys play football, but there's no crowd noise, no chanting. It's kind of
play any canned music or canned audio of crowds.
No, they don't.
Is it like watching, like a basketball game at high school where no one's cheering? It's just squeak, 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 squeak,
right.
Squeak, in the
no,
stadium.
It's a really weird thing. I watched right before all the leagues shut down, Juve and Inter on the ESPN Watch app, and they played behind closed doors, and that's one of the biggest matches in Italian football. And it was really weird. You could hear all the players talking to each other. You could hear every kick of the ball. It was silent at times, besides people just yelling to run up the line in Italian or whatever. And It was a very weird feeling.
It is. I got a good sense of what the empty stadium sound was like at the last U.S. men's national game.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, did I drop the shade?
Go ahead, have a sip of that beer there.
A little callback
you deserve it.
To the previous episode about equal pay.
Yep.
Boom.
And then lastly, on our soccer news, a new league to the La Liga's Roundup. It's called the La Liga's Roundup for those of you that are listening to the first time, maybe, because it really follows four of the other big leagues in Europe, the Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga, and the Serie A. So that's out of Germany, Spain, France, and Italy. However, this one comes to you from the Netherlands. The Eredivisie plans to resume their season on June the 19th and then finish by the end of July. Currently, Ajax at the top of the table tied with AZ Alkmaar on 56 points, with Feyenoord behind them on 50 points and PSV Eindhoven on 49 points. So 2 leagues around the world that have kind of set out a game plan, and hopefully they can carry that game plan out.
How do you pronounce their league again?
The Eredivisie.
Eredivisie.
Pulisic.
Yeah.
What?
Wait.
What?
Is that not how you say it?
I don't know. Right. I'm asking. I was asking. I legit don't know.
No, you're right.
As far as I know, that's how you say it.
I just like the 2 cool names, Feyenoord and Eindhoven.
Look, Feyenoord.
Eindhoven.
I hear Feyenoord, and that's just like the Green Knight rode from the hills of Feyenoord as he drew his blade. Because it totally sounds like something from Lord of the Rings. It totally does. Feyenoord. Bring forth the blade of the light.
Damn it. Can we go back to Tiger King? Feyenoord is actually the team that Robin Van Persie retired on last year. And then Ajax, which you all see in the Champions League, a myriad of players there. But it'd be very exciting if those 2 leagues return and we start the chain of returning to normal football back to everybody. That'd be fun. But that's kind of your soccer news from this past week and even the last week from the world of football.
That was it.
Pretty much nothing going on.
At least you still got Jose in there.
This is true. It's a dumb one in that case.
Does this roll us around to some of the beer news Ron has brought forth?
I believe it does.
From the realm of Feyenoord and its dwarven ales.
Damn it. Why did I include that in the content?
Well, in your defense, you had no idea that we would take it that way.
True, but I've also done 135 previous episodes with you two and know that Blake is the biggest nerd out of us all and that he would have taken this somewhere, whether it's like a Marvel reference, Lord of the Rings, whatever.
Hey, man, you know me.
He's consistent.
Don't worry. We got this new sweet piece of equipment for the studio that Ron gave us that's got all these sounds I can program in. I just need a few minutes to program in sounds of the TARDIS, lightsabers cutting on.
The TARDIS.
Yeah, some goal sounds. I got to get Ferris on there going, saying something. Or actually, I want to get an air horn, but I really just want to get Ferris to record him going. And that's our air horn.
That's too funny. Yeah, I'm excited that we're going to be able to have some sound effects in there. We got to have that Ferris burping up Cookie Puss too.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, that's going to get on there. Holy Cookie Puss.
Lovely.
So we got some beer news in the wake of all this quarantine and virus and all that.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second there, Ron.
Oh.
Good beer mixed with Cookie Puss beer. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Cookie Puss burp from Ferris.
God, that sounds even worse when you hear it over again.
The fact that it's just fluid. Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, I knew I had that sitting on the desktop. I had to get that in there.
oh, just the fluid sound of it.
But it picked up on Mike that clearly and that disgustingly. It was lovely.
So, a lot of breweries have gone to delivery or curbside pickup or, various other things like apps and things like that to keep the breweries up and running.
They've
A
been
lot of
getting
the
clever.
breweries,
They've been getting real clever. I see
Yeah.
a lot of stuff on Twitter and everything from a lot of the breweries.
yeah, the social media presence has kicked up a whole bunch to let people know, that, hey, we're open and we're selling growlers or bottles or cans or whatever. And at first I was telling Blake earlier, Ferris, that first I was just kind of ordering all the beer from the local grocery store. And yeah, I was buying some local brands, but then I realized it's really important for people who like beer and especially like craft beer to get out and, do a curbside pickup at your local brewery because that goes a really long way. So here in Orlando, we have a whole bunch like Rock Pit and Crooked Can and Sideward Brewing and a few others that
Ivanhoe Park,
yeah,
Allergens, yeah.
that are all still open for, to go beers and things like that. And if you're looking for some beer delivery because you'd rather not go curbside, there's 4 pretty much national apps that you can use. Tavor, Tapster, Saucy, and 7 Now. Those are all apps that you can order beer on. Go ahead.
I also have one more that we used the other day. It is called Drizzle.
I love the name.
And they are like an Uber Eats for beer.
So yeah, so in this insane time, you've got to go and support your local craft, because it's entirely possible that when this all clears up, they might not be there if you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So some other interesting things about all this is beer and other alcohol sales are steadily increasing. Obviously, right? Everybody's home and drinking.
Nothing else to do.
As the country is under quarantine, sales reports from Nielsen show that craft beer sales have increased 34% this year.
I wonder if
awesome.
it's a matter of, this is not a knock on craft beer, because obviously we like craft beer. I wonder if it's a matter of people, because the stores have just been running out of things. I wonder if it's a matter of people just grabbing whatever's there, which would be really fascinating to see if people who don't normally get craft beer get it and end up becoming fans down the road because it's something they got. Because look, if you go to the beer places right now, when stuff's getting hit hard, what's left behind is the stuff that's kind of weirder, or like new to craft beer folks might not be into or have jumped to first. It'll be interesting to see what happens when this is all said and done for people's palates.
Yeah, that's an interesting trend that I think the beer community will definitely be tracking. And we'll just have to, kind of follow up on that. But yeah, you have a good point. Your shock top is no longer in, so you get a Hefeweizen that's close to it.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then you end up sticking with it. So I just thought it was interesting how high craft beer sales have jumped.
That is wild.
That's awesome.
We also have some cool good news beer stuff. Well, 34% increase in sales is good news too. It's just why is bad. But Ron, before you get into the one that you've got, because it's kind of a big one, I have a shorter one to share.
Sure,
it's
go
kind
for
of
it.
a good news beer one. So I have this master list of breweries and distilleries from across the nation that is as up to date as it can be, that for first responders and essential or any roles considered essential, the breweries and distilleries have switched over from making beers and liquors to bottling and creating hand sanitizers.
Right.
And what's awesome is I am not going to take the time to read this list to you that's broken up by state because it's a bunch in every state. It could be all 50 as I'm flipping through this. Like, it's a lot, but I'll let you know what's happening in Florida our way. So folks that are now making a ton of hand sanitizer for first responders and everybody else. We have Three Daughters Brewing in St. Petersburg, who they were just on our last pod. Copper Bottom Craft Distillery, Dark Door Spirits in Tampa, Kazuba and Sons Distillery in St. Pete, which I don't think we've had theirs.
I don't think so either.
Loggerhead Distillery in Sanford, which that's a distillery, and we've been to Sanford and had some craft beers out there, but I don't know about a distillery, so I got to look them up.
I don't think I've been there, yeah.
Motorworks Brewing in Bradenton and St. Augustine Distillery in St. Augustine.
Which Motorworks is getting ready to open up a tap room out here in downtown Orlando where Orange County Brewing used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. They have some pretty wicked beers.
Guys, in Sanford, we're going to have to go to this Florida raised and distilled, the Loggerhead Distillery. Their logo is this wicked, like, pirate thing. That's very Florida. I don't know if you can tell well you can see it, but it's that looked pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. And literally, there's breweries in Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, like every state in the union I'm looking at, and there are just a ton of breweries that are making stuff for first responders. Wow, North Carolina, my home state's heavily represented there. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see all the people coming together for stuff. Dogfish Head's doing it. It's popular beer places that you would know would be things like Dogfish Head. They've been doing stuff. But what's really cool, though, it's a tremendous amount of smaller breweries. Alchemy Distillery in California.
We've had them on the pod
Belgian
before.
is on it, right?
Colorado. Aren't they Colorado? I've got Mountain Whiskey. Now, to mind you, this might not be the most up-to-date, okay? Because this article's, like a couple of weeks old. But there's definitely a ton of places that you will be familiar with that you will see that are making a ton of stuff for in terms of hand sanitizer. It's awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is very, very cool.
Well, it's cool that they're coming up with ways to make sure that they survive. It's really smart.
Not only to do that, but also to help support and offer a product that is in much need nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. So another cool thing that the beer community is doing, Other Half Brewing from Brooklyn, New York, has created a beer called the Altogether IPA. And essentially what they did was they took the recipe, they posted it online for free, along with all of the different artwork, and all the other supporting documentation for this beer. And they said any brewery that wants to use this recipe and all that, it's free of charge. The only thing that we ask is that any of the proceeds, after you've covered your costs, any of that extra money, go to first responders and charity to help people get through this the virus. So
and it's actually wow, other countries I see that you've gotten there too. Like,
yeah, so
holy cow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Altogether is a worldwide open-ended beer collaboration created to raise support for the industry we love so much, craft beer. It's an effort to raise awareness and provide relief, even in the smallest way, to those who are struggling. We're inviting any brewer from any corner of the planet to participate. The recipe is open source, the artwork is public, and the name is yours to use. The goal is to provide you with all the tools to make the beer at the lowest possible cost. The only thing we ask is that a portion of the proceeds go to supporting hospitality professionals in your community and first responders. The rest should go to keeping you in business so you can weather the storm. So this global collaboration so far, as of 2 days ago, has been taken up by 448 breweries globally.
Wow, that's awesome.
Every brewery is using basically the same recipe minus a few twists for, I couldn't get this hop, so I replaced it with that one, which is cool because that makes each brewery's slightly unique.
And it says they can be done as a New England IPA or a West Coast IPA.
Right.
Style.
Yep.
So already there, you've got more variants.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
they're going to sell the beer, raise money for all the workers, all that. You can go to their website, which is alltogether.beer, and you can look at the recipe. If you're a home brewer or a brewer that listens, you can download the recipe and all the artwork for the bottles and cans. There are 40 breweries in the USA so far, and then 29 other countries have picked up and jumped on this wagon. So some of the ones that we have here in Florida that have joined, we have Hidden Springs Aleworks in Tampa, Civil Society Brewing in Jupiter, Sideward Brewing here in Orlando, Ology Brewing in Tallahassee, J. Wakefield Brewing in Miami, Point Yebel, I don't know if I'm saying that right, YBEL, Point Yebel Brewing Company in Fort Myers, Darwin Brewing in Bradenton, Focal Brewing in Miami, Rock Pit here in Orlando, Ivanhoe Park here in Orlando. By the way, their batch is going to be done Tuesday of next week, gents.
Okay, cool.
Right, that Ivanhoe or Rockport Pits?
Ivanhoe.
Ivanhoe's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there yesterday talking to them about it. Deviant Wolf, which is a great brewery in
Good brewery. Yep.
Tripping Animals Brewery in Doral, which we got to go check that out because what a great name. Is it Doral?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not from Florida. And then some other breweries to note, which I thought were interesting, is a brewery in really, really close to Blake's hometown, Hopfly Brewing Company in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Yeah, didn't know that was a thing that existed. I'm going to have to look them up now.
And then a couple of other places for travels that I've been on. Oslo Brewing Company. If you sweep back all the way through our Untapped, you'll be able to see beers that I checked in from Oslo. Another favorite brewing company of ours and the Marvel movies is Creature Comforts Brewing Company.
Athens, Georgia.
The Thor beer.
Yep.
I forgot about that and was just had an in-game playing the other day and was like, oh, right, there's that beer again. It's like, there it is.
A super tasty IPA. And then Roadhouse Brewing in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Roadhouse.
Kyoto Brewing in Kyoto, Japan. And then a place that is kind of close to Blake and I, a place we worked in the past, Springhouse Brewing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Now, Ron, I'm looking at their website because I wasn't familiar with them, but they also have a tap room in Lidditz where I used to live, in Lidditz, PA. Was that the old Tomato Pie Cafe that's been turned into that? Is that what that is?
I think so.
Man,
it looks like that.
That's I hate that that's there now, not when I lived there. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Beer in Lidditz, Pennsylvania has exploded.
Man, that's awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah, so go to their website. I obviously didn't include all 448 breweries, but I encourage everybody to head on over to alltogether.beer, look up your state, see what local breweries are doing this Altogether IPA, and go out and support A, the local brewery, and B, relief efforts for everybody who's having a tough time.
That is really, really cool. I like this good news. They were kind of doing the good news beer section here. I like it.
Blake, do I see you going in for another tasty beverage of yours?
You sure as heck do, my friend.
Well, I'm going to run to the fridge here and grab me another.
Ron, there you go. He got up because he didn't plan properly.
Well, why would I? A fridge is 10 feet away. It stays cold, refreshing.
Hey, look, the good news is I'm redoing the office, Ron, and I think I'm going to test it for interference, but I can get the Doctor Who fridge up on our desk, maybe.
Oh, perfect.
So that when I open
God
it,
damn it.
Exactly.
You know the best thing about that fridge is that every time you open it, it makes the TARDIS noise.
Oh yeah, it does the
Damn it.
wah, 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 wah. Oh yeah.
Oh, is that the TARDIS noise?
Yeah.
I've never watched the show. So.
Yeah, well, you're a
Just
heathen.
giving you guys just to give you
Yeah. It's gonna happen, Ferris.
whatever.
I can't wait to see the redone studio.
Yeah, slowly but surely, just little pieces coming together.
Because maybe one day we'll all get to record again together.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, but the nice thing is, with this new piece of equipment, we're able to do this. We could not have done this a week ago when this did not exist.
Yeah.
All courtesy of a lovely benefactor called Mr. R. Keller.
It's all because last week when we tried to record Ferris just being down the street from us and it wasn't working and we were going out of our mind.
Oh, yeah.
When episode was over, Ron's like, what is that thing you were talking about getting that makes that easier? It's on the way.
It'll be here Thursday.
Yeah, we're done with this.
So let's see. Some other beer news. Anybody
Cheers.
else want to chime in on beer news, or shall I keep going?
I always say Olada starts off the pod, so I might as well start off with the Mexican government.
Okay, that was quite the segue.
That is a segue there.
It was
From Florida to Mexico, not too far off there.
Way to go. You know what I think about your segues? I had to get one of those sound effects in here.
Yeah. Of course you did. The Mexican government has seized operations in all non-essential businesses, public and private businesses, until April 30th in an attempt to stop the spread of COVID-19. John Hopkins reported that Mexico has more than 1,500 cases and 50 deaths. According to a statement by Grupo Modelo, they are ready to execute their plan to guarantee the supply of beer if the Mexican government decides to include breweries as an essential business.
Yeah, that's... is that a lot of noise in the
You got a
background?
drone flying over you? What is that?
What the hell is happening?
I'm under attack.
Sprinklers?
No, it's some weird guy in his... I think it's some sort of motorized moped.
Nice.
Hey, man, he's just,
So
he's just
He's
trying
just
to
out
do his
fooling
thing
around,
too.
having a Florida man.
Yeah, yep. I love they've got a plan ready to go if it's deemed as essential business, which I know that's like a weird phrase. Like there is what's essential to keep a company that hires bunch of people from going under. It's such a weird time, and
Yeah,
how to make those calls and stuff like that. It's tough. Hey, if they're listening to this pod, make sure part of what you're doing is cranking out hand sanitizer, and maybe you will be deemed.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of Mexico, though, you guys do know what's in my fridge during this quarantine time,
Oh, I
as
figured
well
it's
as the Florida Man,
bunch
a
of
lovely 12-pack of Pacifico Clara.
Yeah, I will say, does anyone have like a go-to beer right now that they've kind of just, or because I found myself,
I just showed you it.
well, you got your Pacifico. What about you, Ron? Have you had anything, or have you been kind of varying it up?
Sorry, I was on mute there for a minute because it was not a guy on a moped. It was the mosquito truck.
Oh, lovely. That's delicious.
Spraying
Only
poison.
in Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Only in
There you
Florida.
go. It's a true, authentic Florida pod.
There is a local beer that I have gone to that I am not going to share the name of yet because I have a friend of the pod, Phil, who has procured me another. Is that the right word?
Yeah, procured. I like it.
That has gotten me a 4-pack of cans that I would like to have on the pod with you, gents.
Sweet.
Hopefully before Ron leaves. Because it is one of the best beers that I've ever had in this area. If not this state, if not ever.
I
It is
found
fantastic.
I have found myself during this going back to Guinness. Isn't that weird?
Hey, attaboy.
But I think it's because of the struggle with getting the little one to sleep, where she used to like 7:30 on the dot, and now like she goes to bed by 9. You go, well, She went to bed at 9, so you're still fine, right? What you don't understand is that means that from 7:30 until 9, it has been a constant battle and struggle of dragging her back to her room, putting her back in bed, her screaming and be upset and yada yada, and trying to get her to sleep. So when you're actually done at 9, you're like, well, I'm exhausted. So like the idea of something on nitro with those smooth, small bubbles and not a ton of carbonation, that like Guinness has. We had a bunch of Guinness from the last time we did our pie day. So Guinness has been like my go-to. I just got that one left, and I'm like, I got to go back to the grocery store soon to get some more Guinness, which is weird because it's just not something I normally go for, except for like when we're doing the pie days or whatever, and I find myself going to it. The other odd,
it's always a go-to.
Oh yeah, but it's more of like if I'm at a place and they don't have like a lot of crap beer or whatever, Guinness is like what I'll go to. And the other odd thing that is keeping me sane, like every time I go to the grocery store, I always get some, and I always have it. It's freaking Cocoa Pebbles. I haven't had those since I was like a little kid, but they were on sale when I was getting a ton of stuff early on, and I was like, man, the world's crazy. And I'm like, you're feeling it emotionally and like psychologically. So I just want a little happiness. I got these Cocoa Pebbles. Every time I've gone to my bi-weekly grocery store run, I have loaded up with more Cocoa Pebbles, guys. Don't know why Cocoa Pebbles. I forgot about those when I was asking, what are you doing to keep sane? Cocoa Pebbles. That's one of them.
Because it gives you, it gives you chocolate milk at the end.
Yeah. It's that thing of, you just want like, I don't have any control over the situation. So I'm going to control the fact that I'm going to have some damn Cocoa Pebbles right now.
Grown man, ladies and gentlemen, grown man.
I don't have a specific fallback beer. So March 17th, for St. Patrick's Day, I went out and made Ferris proud. I got a 12er of Pacifico Clara.
Mexican beer on an Irish holiday. Well done.
And I dyed it green, though. You can see
God, you don't dye beer green on St. It's such a stupid damn tradition. Drink Guinness like your friend Blake over here.
That was amazing.
So I tried to get Guinness, right? But Publix didn't have any.
What?
And there was one other place that I went that didn't have any. And so I was like, is there anything even close? And I couldn't find any Irish Reds. I couldn't find anything. So I figured, I know somebody who's Irish, Ferris.
Yep.
And Ferris's favorite is Pacifico Clara. So Pacifico Clara became Irish for the day.
Oh, you know what?
Ron,
I gave you for it earlier. I take it all back. Well done.
I tried. And then I just dyed it green because I was actually curious how it would turn out. And it worked out like a champ.
Yeah. That's the one thing that we do not do in the Ferris household is dye beer green. You have Guinness, you have Smithwick's, you have Bass, you have a snake bite, whatever those things are called, the black and tan. Yeah. You have a shot of Jameson, a few shots of Jameson, and call it a day. I actually had. Have you guys tried the Jameson cold brew edition?
No, not yet.
Oh no, I've heard of that. Want to try it?
Yeah, it's quite good. Quite good, yeah.
My other go-to Irish beer that I don't get frequently because it's just they don't have it as much is Murphy's Irish Stout on Nitro.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. That's very good.
That. It's a slightly but yet distinct variance from the taste of like a Guinness Stout. I like the Murphy's, man.
I do too. It's hard to find in this area. A few Irish bars in this area do have it on tap, though.
You guys know McGinty's is closed.
No.
Yeah, McGinty's is gone. It's been a couple of months.
When did that happen?
I'm not sure. I didn't follow it up on social media. I was driving past it for work, and I saw that the signs were down, and it was for lease or for rent or whatever.
That was the one in the Windermere Winter Garden area, right? No, is that what I'm thinking of?
No, McGinty's was the one in like Pine Castle area.
Oh, okay.
We went there and
yes,
paid,
Subio or whatever
That's
it was.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Complete opposite area. Yes. Okay. Wow,
Right.
that's closed. No kidding. I
Yes.
drove by it not too long ago, and they were open. So
My favorite
that's
Irish
weird.
place is still like the Claddagh Cottage. It's a little bit out there to get there, but Ron and I used to live closer to it because it was off Curry Ford. I like the
Tell
Claddagh
downtown.
Cottage.
The best.
Well, speaking of pubs, I guess we should talk. We can talk a little bit about the next couple of things in the good news of craft beer. So, virtual happy hours in pubs are becoming super popular on things like Zoom, whether you Skype or what have you. I guess Zoom is free, so a lot of people are using Zoom. And you've got redonline.co.uk.
Yeah.
Guess they can play trivia. They can do karaoke. They can do karaoke.
Yep.
Talk
Oh,
and lessons on brewing beer. This is all
Yeah.
super cool. I like everything about this, but I feel like karaoke needs to happen.
That is a show online waiting to happen.
Buddy, I got you.
It's just cool that all these like platforms are coming out, and essentially it's a bar online, and you can go talk to somebody specific. You can play trivia games, and like
you wonder if this stuff will stick around at all when it gets back to quote unquote normal, because some of that stuff just sounds fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So I wonder how that'll go.
Yeah, this company, Red on Lion, it's kind of the play on words for online, but essentially
roar.
They have opened the first virtual happy hour in the UK that a mass of people can all join, and you can go into different rooms in the pub virtually, and that's where I guess they have like trivia, and you can leave that room and go play in the karaoke room or take homebrewing lessons.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
Untapped should do something like this, because I think that would be kind of cool with everybody trying all the various beers that show up on that app and the interesting things that people can talk about on where those beers come from. I wonder if they're looking into that at all. Yeah,
I have no idea. That's a good idea, though. But feel free, check out Red on Lion, redonlion.co.uk. And
Red on Lion, not blue on Lion. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, Jesus. Ferris tugs on his little... his cute
See, he makes fun of us
Man
for
United
being nerds about different things, but he comes up with these cheesy...
I'm a nerd about soccer, baby.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You get it.
So, another fun thing, if I'm not mistaken, we had this beer on the pod.
Mr. Jeff.
I believe we had, yeah.
Which I'm always worried I'm never saying your last name right, Jeff. He got us some of the Heady Topper that we had on the pod.
Correct.
Yes, so...
Held on to it until Ron came back from China for a little bit so we could actually do it on the show. Yeah.
That's right.
That's a good beer. I really enjoyed it.
One of the best
rated
ones
this is a good time to remind Jeff that he owes me a beer the next time that they are down, based on our previous bet of fantasy.
He did just text me to check in to see how we were all doing, and probably not making his May trip, but hopefully still making the one.
Oh, yeah. Stay well up there.
So, yeah, the Alchemist's Brewing Company, their famous Heady Topper beer, is now going to be available in the greater Boston, Massachusetts gigantic area. So Massachusetts craft beer lovers, you're going to have a big old reason to smile because you can get some Heady Topper. Two of Alchemist Beer's unfiltered India Pale Ales are now going to be available for the first time outside of Vermont, thanks to a partnership with Night Shift Distribution. Heady Topper's an Imperial IPA around 8% ABV, and it's just damn tasty.
Yes, it is.
So look at all this good news in the beer world.
Yeah, and then kind of go into what we were just talking about with these virtual happy hours. The world's first virtual beer festival will be held on April 17th. It'll be broadcast from the UK. It's a beer festival in your living room, kind of like one of those fireplace DVDs that you pop in there.
If they added that to Netflix streaming, that'd be amazing.
Hell yeah. The craft beer discovery club called Beer 52 is hosting it. They will conduct virtual back-to-back. So something to look forward if you are stuck at home with nothing to do and have a few beers laying around. Do we know where it'll be broadcast on by the chance? Oh, here it goes.
I think it's the
how
website.
It works.
Yeah.
There it goes. Yep. Go to Beer 52's website, beer52.com, and buy a ticket for just £29. They will ship you the beer from breweries like Stillwater, Artisanal, Beer Biotech, North Brewing Company, White Hag Brewing, Siren Craft Brew, The Garden Brewery, and McKellar. Then log in to the live stream and follow the schedule. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, we got Ron back.
Yeah, sorry, my phone died.
Oh, got you. Yeah, you might have to take us off of speakers. I think we're getting an echo.
Or just cancel out of your phone because it's still there. It is. Now we're back to normal.
There we go.
So if you're interested in the first virtual beer festival, it's held on April 17th, and you go to beer52.com for all of the information.
That's pretty rad. Was that it for our good beer news, Ron? Hey, Ron.
Chelsea sucks.
He just hung up again. Okay, we'll let Ron figure out what's going on.
Somebody's phone wasn't properly charged.
In the meantime, let's talk about how Chelsea. Well, let's see if we come back to a Premier League that's a short run. Do you think that hurts or helps Chelsea?
I think, oddly enough, I do think that kind of helps Chelsea. Clubs like my club, Manchester United, and Arsenal, and a few others that were down there and below, we're starting to kind of get in on that fourth place, and we're starting to kind of gain ground there. So Tottenham being one as well. I think that this might help them. Ron's back. We were just talking about how bad that Chelsea is, and that odds are when they come back in June, they will be relegated come July. So welcome back.
Literally, we're like, okay, Ron's not here. Let's talk about Chelsea for a second. That's hysterical. I love that Ron's back with like a new headphone setup and like
bougie.
Wolf Blitzer up in here, man. This is awesome.
Sell.
So the funny thing is, my computer that I'm working on, this Mac, has a like the TSSR jack in it, but I was using my iPhone to talk with you guys, and these headphones don't fit in that phone. So while you're trying to call me back, I got to run inside, grab the other headphones to plug in.
Hey man, we made it happen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think this swings back around to the only other stuff that we had chat about, and I think Ron and I both failed at this, was we were supposed to look at the English game and some of the stuff on Netflix. Also, there's some new soccer stuff on Amazon Prime, but I totally failed and not watch the first episode of the English game yet.
I didn't
actually did watch it.
Good?
It is good. It is definitely worth a watch. It is a very interesting take on the game. It is definitely a drama that portrays the early evolutions of the game. And what's interesting is when you're going through it, it covers, let me see, the main topics associated with soccer. It covers the pay to play. And I don't mean pay to play like we have here in the States, which sucks. I'm talking about that players weren't being paid at the time. You know, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, it was all those that worked or those that were of higher class that played the game. They weren't paid. They played it just for fun. And it talks about the early startings of the FA and the FA Cup, and that's what it primarily covers. But it talks about what is now to be considered player transfers and people being bought out, and with this whole drama amongst where the players go, who they fall in love with, the Londoners who have more money opposed to those in the north, like your Blackburns and Darwins and those type of things.
That sounds pretty awesome, actually.
It's pretty good, and there are so some very good actors in it, and it covers a lot, and you will catch a lot of notes on just things that we do now in the game, especially in the English game. Like I said, with transfers, with the clubs against the North and the South, with managers, with the FA Cup, with kits. It covers a lot of that in a very dramatized way, but it's definitely worth the watch. I believe it's 6 episodes. It gets an 8 out of 10 on, what am I looking at here? On IMDb. No, I'm sorry, it's a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and it is it is very good. And for all of you like me, who's a football nerd, it's definitely worth a watch.
Sweet.
So it sounds like Wolf of Wall Street meets Peaky Blinders meets soccer.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment. It's considered a historical drama, and
we're getting fancy up in this piece.
Very good. Yeah. Very, very, very good. And then the other thing that just dropped on Netflix that is football related is Sunderland Till I Die. Season 2 is now out. So I think this covers a 2018-19 season. So obviously we know where Sunderland's at, or if you follow those tables, you do. But it's always a very interesting. The first one I watched in like a day and a half. Very interesting on how the business of the game works and those behind the scenes. The backroom staff, the players, not when they're not on the pitch, and that is more like a Hard Knocks or a documentary that follows them over the course of the season. So while the season is behind us, it is definitely worth the watch. And I started to watch the first episode the other night. A lot of good soccer content out there, whether on Netflix or Prime or those type of things.
Stuff on Amazon Prime that I just noted that I've added to the list. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to try and scratch the football soccer itch right now that we are severely missing.
Well, that's good. I know what I'm going to do on the weekend.
Yeah, right. I think that's kind of all the stuff that we had slated up for this episode. Unless you gents have anything else to add in.
No, I think that covers it.
Nope. Just everybody be safe and enjoy your off time. And if you're getting stir crazy, just try to stay sane and have some beer and go for a walk and keep adhering to your country's or your state's guidelines. And hopefully we'll get through this and back to somewhat normal soccer and normal life and work and all that fun stuff soon.
Yeah,
try and support your local craft breweries. Go to the altogether.beer to find out what breweries in your area are going to, carry that beer that we just talked about.
And if you're missing your local clubs, a lot of local clubs are doing cool stuff for the area and communities right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Orlando Pride just had a
Q&A session.
A Q&A session, which was cool. I saw something else about Orlando City, but I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Oh, well, sorry.
No, it's all good. I think our brains are all fried. It is Wednesday. I had to remind myself again. I was about to talk to you guys like it was Friday. Because you said weekend and my brain was like, is tomorrow Saturday? No, it's Wednesday. And I'm sure many people listening are all in the same boat. So if you are trying to pass the time, I hope you were able to pass the time with us a little bit. Follow us on Twitter, at Brewtiful Game, Facebook, Untapped. We're still putting up a ton of beers and stuff that we can try. And on Instagram, I never played those. I never played those like what month you were born in, your first letter of your name, and you create create your Star Wars name this way or whatever. You know what I mean? Did you guys see that we got tagged in one about beer?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty slick.
I did my full name, and I got to pull it up because
what was yours? Because mine was quite interesting.
I flippin' loved the name. And it's fun because we got connected to some other craft beer folks that are online. But basically, it was one of these find your craft beer name and style. So it was like, your first letter of your first name, then you pick that. Then the first letter of your middle name, there's another word that goes with that. So there's like all these pieces. But when I did mine, it just cracked me up, because it was so weird, but I wanted to try it. And I got a time traveling ass jellyfish double dry hopped milk stout. And that made me laugh so hard because it actually sounded like something that we'd come up with. Have a little TARDIS drawn on it or something.
I had a badger baiting time pilot, which is a black dipper.
I love it.
I'm figuring out mine right now.
What I was laughing at before you went on to that is something so stupid but so hysterical. Tim Allen, regardless of what you may think of his politics or anything along those lines.
Oh, the Tim the Toolman Taylor? Tim Allen?
Tim the Toolman Taylor just posted something.
Okay.
And it is a picture of Wilson, and it says, Wilson, social distancing champion from 1991 to 1999.
Howdy, neighbor.
Howdy, neighbor. That just got me.
Oh, that's good.
Giggling over here.
So mine is a sharp shooting Robo Peach Impy Stout.
See, that also sounds like something.
Yeah, yours sounds fun.
Whoever thought up all these different names to slap down, they're great. Like, I just love them. I love them.
That's so great.
See. What do I have here? I think that is everything that we got, gents.
Hold on.
What?
Uh-oh.
What do you say to Simba while he's moving too slowly?
Wait, Ferris. Is this for our new segment? Bad jokes today?
Correct. I just cut you off on that one.
Take it away.
Just bumped you off the road. What do you say to Simba while he's moving too slowly?
I'm going to hear it and be angry. I didn't think of it.
Mufasa.
Yes. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you. A friend of mine told me that this week, and I died.
Well, what did the police say to the belly button? Stop, you're under a vest.
Yes. Yes, agree with that one.
When I start finding my own stupid sound effects to attach to saying, I'm going to make our listeners crazy. It'll become a podcast that only entertains Blake. I apologize in advance.
A lot of Lord of the Rings, Marvel references.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
I'm going on an adventure.
All right, gents. Well, hey, it was fun to do a little quarantine pod. Thanks for making this happen.
Yeah, good times
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah. Well, as always, love the beer, cherish the game, the
Clink.
Brewtiful Game. Clink. Have a good one,
Stay
gents.
safe.